How to avoid a dystopian future. Hello everyone, I'm George Orwell, the author of the novel 1984. When I wrote this anti-authoritarian novel after the end of World War II, there was a belief among many free nations of the world that fascism and autocracy had been soundly defeated once and for all. They were wrong. Of course, as you know, I left planet Earth in 1950, and my friend Aldous Huxley joined me in the other dimension of the quantum world, what you living humans call heaven, on November 22, 1963. Coincidentally, that same day, US President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Texas. Aldous had predicted in his book A Brave New World, a future in which universal happiness is only achieved by thoroughly dehumanizing humanity. And that is the dystopian future that dictators can and will bring about if they get their hands of powerful AI technology. Can a nation protect itself from a dystopian future, a future in which totalitarianism and surveillance will strip your freedom? An advanced artificial intelligence model, AI, was asked this question. You will be surprised when you find out the answer. A mixture of experts, MOE, multimodal large language model, or LLM, was challenged with this question. Several photographs and PDF documents were uploaded from countries like Germany during Hitler's era, Russia from Stalin's era, Congo, South Africa, Spain during Franco era, Italy during Mussolini era, Pakistan during Zia-ul-Behaq and Nawaz Sharif's era, and a few others to augment the LLM's retrieval information base. Along with my data, the AI delved deep into the minds of intellectuals like Noam Chomsky, Aldous Huxley, Friedrich Engels, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and others like them, and distilled an answer that was very astonishing. But it made perfect sense. Why did the human minds not come up with this answer? The answer has been always right in front of everyone, practically staring at us. The AI proposed solution is so simple, but yet humans totally missed it. One important point to note is that the AI broke down the answer into two parts. The first part, and the easy one, has to do with the third world and lesser developed countries. The second part of the answer is more for developed and Western nations. We'll go over the first half of the answer first. The solution proposed by artificial intelligence for third world and lesser developed countries. Basically, the AI concluded that in third world nations, governments, politicians, military establishment, business tycoons, non-government organization or NGOs, and well-meaning individuals will never be able to make reforms that will prevent eventual totalitarianism there, a path that most of the third world is gradually heading towards. The deep establishments in these countries have a strong hold on their nation's economic and political machinery. The mega-rich and powerful in these countries are getting richer and more powerful, and this in turn strengthens their deep states further. Over the past few decades, the masses in these countries are becoming more disillusioned and disconnected, and this is making space for brutal totalitarianism regimes to emerge. Most of these regimes, by the way, are propped up by superpowers for their own selfish vested interests, ranging from the need to control strategic resources, rights of ways, and as strategies to contain their enemies. But the good news here is that our AI model sees a silver lining and a slither of hope. This hope depends very much on the masses in these countries. If the people in each nation unite in a meaningful, action-oriented way using modern technologies that have emerged in just the past 2 decades, they can defeat totalitarianism and gain their freedom. And these technologies are AI and blockchain. AI suggests that understanding George Orwell's model of how a control hierarchy operates is essential. With that understanding, one can craft a solution that targets the weak spots of an emerging totalitarianism trend. Let's first look at the control tiers in the hierarchy in George Orwell's model. Envision that most societies in third world nations are structured around the following 3 classes. 1. The elites. The elites are also majority of the permanent members of we call the deep state or establishment. 2. The enablers. This is the middle tier, the enabler class. 3. The people. This is the vast majority of the population that is exploited and kept uninformed and divided. Let's go over the typical number of members in each class. We'll also identify their functions and clarify the role each one plays. 1. First, the elites. This is the powerful ruling class. It is led by a few powerful rich people with deep pockets and international connections. The elites have a large share of control in the deep state. These people are also the permanent lifetime members of the establishment. Every country has this set of people. For example, we have a few billionaires owning megacorporations who control all the banks and money, media, food and medicine, shipping, energy, defense, military, industrial complex, politics, foreign policy and the rest. In numbers, there are around 50 to 60 powerful people that form this class. The establishment also has a few revolving members. These members are those who control heavy weapons and the intelligence apparatus. They are carefully vetted long before their appointments to top positions. For example, the Chief of Army Staff and Secret Service directors would be revolving door members. These people have the weaponry and a trained paramilitary force to abduct ordinary citizens and coerce them, torture and beat them up, make them disappear, and even murder them if needed. Any potential dissidents and other troublemakers can be victims under the garb of treason, threat to the security, and other similar trumped-up charges. Even members of the parliament and senators are not safe. There have been reports of sitting senators kidnapped, stripped naked, tortured, and beaten mercilessly. The judiciary is treated in a similar manner. Judges and their families are threatened and harassed if they don't follow orders. The main goal is to instill fear in the masses. The deep state exercises omnipresent surveillance and control over its citizens, manipulating truth and history to maintain its power. They enforce strict loyalty and conformance to their agenda that they unilaterally define. They even hold elections and manipulate results to form a puppet democratic government. The entire process of bogus elections is usually fully approved by the foreign powers who control them and hold the ultimate strings. Dissent to their agenda is ruthlessly punished. Flow of information is tightly controlled by them. Number 2. The enablers class. The enablers are the gears and wheels that serve several crucial functions for the totalitarian regime to sustain itself. They actually act on the evil wishes of the establishment and the elites. Without them, the establishment and the elites are simply unable to enforce their powers. Some of the roles enablers perform, for example, include A. Maintaining the social hierarchy. The enablers form a buffer between the powerful elites and the common people, that is the working class. They diligently spend time and money creating false narratives that give a false sense of security, participation and equality, while maintaining a clear hierarchy controlled by the elites. B. Spread ideology, instill fear, enforce law and order, and carry out the surveillance. The enablers are empowered, paid handsomely, and facilitated by the elites to lead various sectors like the bureaucracy, police, judiciary, media, military, and politics. The enablers actively enforce the elite ideology, rewrite laws, rewrite history, manipulate media, manipulate legal procedures and law, and monitor the people for signs of dissent and rebellion. This ensures widespread control and minimizes the risk of dissent. There are approximately 300 to 400 of these highly paid and well looked after, enabling individuals in this class. C. Serve as a scapegoat, tool and a target for discontent. The enablers serve as a scapegoat for the elite's decisions and actions. When dissatisfaction arises, the elites can blame any shortcomings on the enablers' incompetence or betrayal, deflecting criticism from the true power holders. Typically, corrupt politicians and military generals in the enabler class are the main scapegoats. D. Fuel the economy. The enablers are well financed by the elites through a chain of corruption to fuel the economy and falsely prop up the elites as a symbol of progress. The enablers are appointed to head the state-owned and semi-state-owned essential industries and administrative roles, contributing to the overall apparatus of siphoning of large sums of money. This flow of money ensures the smooth operation of the totalitarian regime and its economic survival. E. Encourage a false sense of democracy and security. Existence of enablers creates a semblance of democracy, upward mobility, and career advancement within the overall structure. Even the elections are held under their supervision. This illusion gives enablers a sense of purpose and vested interest in upholding the totalitarian regime, which prevents them from joining any public mass rebellions. However, it's important to remember that the enablers, despite their privileges, lack true freedom and stay under constant surveillance of the elites. They are bribed, blackmailed, and held hostage to carry out any orders that the elite wish. Overall, the enablers play a multifaceted role in maintaining the totalitarian control of the elites. They help solidify the hierarchy, enforce ideology, deflect criticism, and ultimately serve the interests of the elite. Examples of enablers are corrupt judges and bureaucrats, corrupt politicians, corrupt police officials, unethical and corrupt media journalists and anchors, two-bit military dictators and generals imposed through regime changes, the land mafia, and others like them. For their loyalty, the enablers are paid handsomely. They are allotted homes, fancy automobiles, overseas vacations and trips, education for their children in overseas universities, jobs in corporations owned by the elite class, and so forth, all mostly paid by taxes collected from the common public. Number 3. At the bottom of the pyramid, we have the people. This is the vast majority of the population. This is you, the consumer, and the voter watching. Your purpose of existence is to serve as a robot who eats, works, consumes, sleeps, and repeats this process for an average of 20,000 days, which is about 60 years. Yes, many of you die, and many get mutilated in useless wars that only serve the interests of the elites. And by the way, the taxes that you pay are what is used by the elites to bribe the enablers and to pay for all the banners, advertisements, and propaganda to keep the regime artificially propped up. The solution. Now that you know the 3 tiers, let's discuss what the artificial intelligence model, AI, suggests as a solution. 1. The AI determined that the middle tier, the middlemen or enablers, is the weakest link that can be shaken, as this is where the problem lies. The top tier, that is the elites, use the enabler class to get things done by using bribery, blackmailing, intimidation, and other nefarious tactics, everything that money can buy. The elites have a very deep surveillance network to keep an eye on the weaknesses, needs, and compulsions of the top people heading the middle tier. For example, an inspector general of police may have a desire to get her children educated in the USA, buy a new house in a posh locality, get her daughters married, buy a fancy car, enjoy overseas vacations every year, save money for old age and retirement, and so on and so forth. 2. The AI determined that it is mainly money and benefits that drives the loyalty of the enabler class to the elites, because only the elite have the power and money to address and fulfill these needs. Granted, there are some enablers who have desires beyond money, such as sexual desires, drugs, alcohol, and addiction to gambling, etc. But in general, most do not fall into these categories, and some only get derailed into these acts due to stress and other compulsions. Of course, the elite class films, records, and captures all their illicit acts on covert video and audio, and then uses the material to blackmail the enablers. We have seen countless examples worldwide of prominent people of the enabler class, such as judges, senior bureaucrats, senior police officers, military officers, politicians, and other top-level enablers being blackmailed by the establishment into committing atrocious tasks and acts and blatantly breach the law. 3. The AI further suggests that the above problem can be solved only if the community gets together and makes an offer to the enablers that is equal to or better than what the elites are offering in terms of money and benefits to make them breach the law or commit injustice and crimes. The purpose of this strategy by the community is to pull the enablers towards doing good rather than indulge in wrongdoings and injustices and inflict damage and harm to millions of innocent citizens. There is a very high chance that more than 50% of the enablers will refuse the establishment bribe and benefits enticement and prefer to get the good citizen reward equal or better than the corruption offer. 4. The advanced AI suggested that blockchain and AI technology can be used by the citizens to ensure that the chances of a dystopian future are squashed permanently in their country. This is how it works. A blockchain powered by AI, call it Justice Blockchain, is launched by the citizens to guarantee monetary and other benefits to the enablers. This will give the enablers an option and a way out to not do wrong things and break the law. B. All citizens are encouraged to contribute to the blockchain, including all the other sympathizers of the cause in the global community. The global community can participate in helping to end the corruption by eliminating the playing field used by the elites. Blockchain technology is a perfect match for this noble use case. This is because only blockchain allows for anyone, anywhere in the world, to contribute money instantly and without any transaction fee towards a cause. Moreover, the amount of contribution can be as small as $1 or rupees 300 or whatever. Imagine blockchain as a 24/7, 365 days a year, always open money collection virtual box that is located everywhere in the world. There are no restrictions to how much you can drop into it. The amount could be as low as $1 or even 1 dinar, dirham, euro, pound, or any currency in the world. Or one can drop in larger amounts if they can afford. People have been known to contribute hundreds of thousands of dollars for causes if they are given an assurance of trust, transparency, anonymity, privacy, and security. And all of these assurances are present in blockchain technology, and this is why AI picked the technology for this use case. Notice the AI did not mention any action against the elites because they are not the problem. The problem is the enabler class who become greedy and are tempted to sell their soul easily for money and benefits. C. A high-level governance body consisting of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, manages the blockchain and ensures that the enablers are compensated for good behavior and compassion. This compensation can be in form of a quarterly and an annual reward combined with a generous retirement fund. The annual Benevolent Acts reward would be handed out each quarter in form of cash, trips overseas, education for their children, etc. Benevolent in this context means that they do not break the law and do their duty to look after the interests of the citizens as opposed to serving the vested interests of the elite establishment. By performing their role honestly and diligently and refusing bribes and benefits from elite or establishment class, the enablers not only safeguard democracy but also contribute to the economic growth of their country. We know from hundreds of case studies that corruption is the root cause of poverty in the third world and poor countries. Rampant corruption goes unpunished due to absence or lack of honest prosecution and justice. The mega-corrupt are easily able to purchase the souls of the judges hearing their cases and thus are never held accountable. Most of these countries are struggling with interest payments on debt. From International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF, the borrowed money, which is in billions of dollars, is craftily siphoned by the elite and corrupt to foreign bank accounts instead of being used for the purpose it was borrowed for. There are nations which are paying up to 80% of their tax and exports revenue to service foreign debt. D. The blockchain DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, to manage the affairs and the functioning of the blockchain must be indestructible, solid, and resilient. For this, the DAO structure must consist of a set of reputable people organized in groups, you can call them panels or leagues or whatever name you prefer, that collectively manage the DAO's operations. The detailed design of the DAO and its functioning will be discussed later, but generally you would have a Senator Council, a Treasury Council, a Technology Council, and a Citizens Council, and so on. Collectively, they will form the Governance Council, and each member will be elected by token holders, which is the public, through voting on a reputation token. The reputation token represents the honesty and credibility of the individual and keeps the evil people out of the governance system. E. As mentioned above, giving an option to the enablers, that is the senior judges and bureaucrats, politicians, police officials, and the popular media journalists and anchors, is the main purpose of the justice blockchain. However, the design and structure of the blockchain should be such that other proposals which promote justice, equality, and fair play can also be financed and executed. This includes legal protection for whistleblowers, financing investigations for crimes, funding legal fees for worthy causes, and helping eradicate poverty, etc. In short, the justice blockchain will be fueled by the justice token, a crypto asset designed to seamlessly collect the contributions and distribute the collections in form of rewards for honesty and fair play among the enabler class. This will facilitate justice in a fast and frictionless manner to all those who suffer injustice due to corruption, lack of finances, or intimidation by the powerful. The justice ecosystem will be powered by DAOs and AI for governance, document processing and management, audits, reputation controls, and many other traditionally tedious functions. Artificial intelligence will become the force multiplier to enable justice and protect democracy. Justice tokens, the crypto assets for justice, will also facilitate the process of justice for all by providing the victims access to money, media coverage, and social name and shame campaigns. Lack of money to hire top-notch lawyers and lack of money to fund media campaigns to keep the litigation progress and community voice in the front pages is one of the major reasons why the influential culprits get away with injustice. Artificial intelligence and blockchain technologies combined can enable aggrieved to overcome the money and media obstacle. In conclusion, remember, whether you care to accept it or not, people in the third world and poor countries live in a hyper-controlled matrix where their perception of reality is meticulously planned, managed and executed in order to control and steer them in whichever direction the elite wish. They are kept uneducated and uninformed, and their life is plagued with toxic food and medicine, toxic air and water, useless consumer-oriented social media campaigns, engineered financial crisis and taxation, endless wars, stress, anxiety, depression, drugs and alcohol, constant fear-mongering, and we could go on and on about how they are being influenced and forced to move away from all the things that give them strength, security, purpose and meaning. And it's only getting worse. A weak, immoral, disconnected, ignorant, unhealthy and rampantly growing population is an easy target for the next stage, the creation of an entire generation of slaves. This must be stopped. This need not be their future. The choice is and has always been in the hands of the informed and benevolent humans who are not indifferent and who genuinely care. In the past, such people did not have access to blockchain or AI technology. Now they do. Now there is no excuse for not to act. The price of liberty and preserving basic humanity is eternal struggle and vigilance. In future videos, we'll cover the important components and mechanics, aspects of the justice blockchain, such as an example of a decentralized autonomous organization, what we call a DAO structure, the concept of reputation tokens, the concept of smart contracts, which is a mechanism in blockchain to ensure trust and compliance of agreements, example use cases of the justice token, and other such topics. In the past, humans have been subordinated to their own inventions, technology, and social organization. These things have ceased to serve humans and instead have become their masters. But we can change all that. Now we can use technology to build a social organization, and with that, a new world order that is subordinated to humanity and not the other way around. Please stay tuned and become a member of a community that will defend freedom, liberty, and propagate justice for all humans everywhere. Yes, indeed. If the people unite, they will succeed. I did not know at the time I wrote the book how far technology would progress, but I did envision the possibility of some form of surveillance and control technology landing into the hands of bad people, leading to a dystopian future. Thank you for listening to me and paying attention to my message. Please be assured that I shall continue my message in meaningful ways, so that you can spread my message not just in developed countries, but also to your fellow humans living in the extremely vulnerable, underdeveloped and poor countries.